Hey, welcome back to KL Insider. It's Night Owls Week this week, and I'm Skylar Jenkins.
I'm Pat McGuire.
And let's jump right into it.
So the Night Owls last season, they finished with a 5-5 record. But the big thing that stood out was they are your Cronum League champions from KL4. They managed to go into the playoffs, beating the Throwbacks, taking the Evergreens to a shootout and beating them, and then knocking off the reigning champs, the Nimblejacks. So it was quite impressive to see their second half of the season. Statistically, they scored 1,200 points, and then they also led the league in cross-zone points with 356. Defensively, statistically, they led the league in blocks.
So the full roster for the Night Owls for KL5 will be Kyle McGrath, Chris Vontenhausen, Corey Chubon, Bobby Lutz, Donnie McCall, Mark Stewart, Jeff Gerace, Brett McGlenzie, Brian Concio, Ryan Sheplock, Joel Tulski, Bob Zane, Matt Newding, Ryan Liberty, Ryan McGlenzie, and Can Duman.
So the key additions for this team, I want to start out with talking about Bobby Lutz and Donnie McCall together because they're going to go together kind of like Frank McKnight and Jay Klein went together last season. They were the face guarders for the Night Owls. So Bobby Lutz is kind of plays exactly like Jay Klein. He has a good drop kick, he's fast, and he's very aggressive. So he's going to fill that role that Jay Klein left. And then Frank McKnight is, again, he can score a little better than Jay Klein could have. He had a big penalty shot in the playoffs that kind of helped the Night Owls go to the championship. And Donnie McCall, I think, is actually going to be better than Frank McKnight was because he has better soccer skills. He's much faster than him and definitely much stronger. So that's a good pickup from the Night Owls. Also, Ryan Sheplock, he's a very good offensive threat. He has one of the best flex shots I've seen in the Cronum Rec League. Ryan Liberty, he's a good pickup for the Night Owls because he's a wedgeback that flew under the radar. Not a lot of people knew who he was. He was very underrated, but he really came on the past couple of rec leagues, showing that he can play at that top level, and he does make some pretty spectacular saves. He also has one of the most interesting flex shots. He seems like he's just holding the ball forever up in the air and then finally shoots it. Also, Ryan McGlenzie, he's a veteran wedgeback. He played with the Workhorses last year. He's joining his brother Brett, and he's a good safety net for this team if they need a wedgeback to get in that knows how to play. He's very good with the backdoor dunks, and he can throw too. But his best is defensively. He'll be a good safety net for this team. And then they still have one spot remaining to pick up. They want to get another backup Ranger, so they're still looking for that final spot for their team. So the Night Owls starting lineup. This is interesting to go over their starting lineup because how they play a lot of face guard defense. So it's always interesting to see where they put guys offensively and defensively. For instance, offensively, Kyle McGrath and Chris Vontenhausen are going to run the offense through the middle. But you're going to see defensively, they're going to play more in that Ranger position because they're going to have that face guarder in when they play. So Bobby Lutz is going to be in at a Ranger position offensively, or he might not even be at the Ranger position. He might just be on his face guard the entire time. But if they're not playing in the face guard defense, you're going to see Ryan Sheplock in at that Ranger position, along with Jeff Gerace, Brett McGlenzie, and Brian Concio. And then as wedgebacks, Joe Tulski he moved to Ranger last season, and then towards the end he played wedgeback a little bit. They're actually just going to move him right back to wedgeback, and he'll be alongside Bob Zane, who had one of the best shooting percentages in the entire league at 56%, along with Matt Newding, who helped them get to the championship, made some very good saves. And then the last spot I was looking at, this was tough for me to decide between Can Duman and Ryan McGlenzie. I don't think Ryan Liberty will be in the starting lineup. He's going to be a bench player. But for the fourth spot, Can Duman, he's better offensively, where Ryan McGlenzie is better defensively. So it'll be interesting to see what they go with on the starting lineup. But who I think they're going to end up going with is Can Duman because he has played with the Night Owls before and he knows how they like to run everything offensively and defensively. For what I think they're going to end up doing this season is I would like to see how their new face guarders come in and how they perform well. I know the biggest thing for these Night Owls was how well Frank McKnight and Jay Klein performed at their position as a face guarder. So I think a lot rides on how Bobby Lutz and Don McCall can pick up the slack and play that position And they're still going to have their big offense. They still have a lot of guys that can put up 100 points a season. I think we will see them towards the end in the playoffs making a run. It's going to make an exciting year with this team. I know they have a tough task in front of them, though. There's a lot of good teams that are improving, and they know that. So it'll be interesting to see where they go.
The Night Owls in KL4 were known for being fast, aggressive, and very defensive. And I think we're still going to see that same team. You're not going to see a big change like the Workhorses. It's not a whole new team. But they do have some important pickups, and I definitely think they're going to be an exciting team to watch this upcoming season. So the Winter Classic happened this past Saturday, and a majority of the people on these 4 teams, Urban Legends, Throwbacks, Nimble Jacks, and Workhorses, were pretty much all there. And so they had some of their new players who we were kind of unsure about, the Workhorses, whether they could get that chemistry together with their brand new team. And it was really cool to see. Workhorses did great. Their chemistry was right there. As predicted, Richie really got the guys together, and there was a lot of backdoor passing. And I mean, just all of the teams did really well. It was definitely cool to see, almost an insight on the preseason. There were also 2 other teams. My team, Towson, and Old Miss were there. The conditions were cold. First game started off at about 20 degrees, and it didn't get much warmer. So it was getting hard to grip the ball in the cold. The scoring wasn't as high as we'd all like to see, and the throwing wasn't what you'd normally see, but it was just a fun day, and it was good to see all the teams out there. Thanks for tuning in this week. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We're going to be posting up a couple posts about the Winter Classic, but we're definitely going to be putting up some posts about the Night Owls, and we want to hear about what you think about the team. So I'm Skylar Jenkins.
I'm Pat McGuire.
And we'll see you around.
Come on!